Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and we're going to jump right into part number 2, or the finale, potentially, depending on how this turns out, for Street Masters by Adam and Brady Sadler from Blacklist Games. This game is currently on Kickstarter, and this is a continuation of the playthrough that we have already started. If you have not checked out the Street Masters Kickstarter giveaway on my channel, be sure to go and check that video out, because I am giving away the option of 2 different prize packages for Street Masters. This is a huge giveaway because it tailors itself to the winner. The winner will be able to choose one of the 2 different types of packages, and all the details can be found in that video. There'll be a link in the description below to that video if you haven't already seen it and haven't already entered. So without further ado, I think it's time to find out whether Megan is able to handle Dmitri in Gone Ballistic. First and foremost, we're going to do a couple rule corrections from part number 1. A few things that will actually help Megan out, as well as hurt Dmitri, which is awesome, and actually gain her some things. So I want to go through those rule clarifications with you right now before we move into the actual part 2 or finale playthrough, depending on how this pans out. This could be part 2, there could be a part 3, or this could literally be the finale. I don't know how this is going to pan out, so that's why I'm unsure. So what we're going to do to start it off here is go through the rule corrections one by one. So let's kick this off right now. So the very first rule correction that we messed up in the first part of this series was gaining a loot card when you kill any minion. And you'll know it's a minion because it will specify it on the enemy card itself. In most cases, most of the characters coming from off the board here will be considered minions. Everything that's killed on the board will gain you a loot card right away. So we would have gained a loot card when we took out Anastasia earlier on in the playthrough, which means we were down 1 loot card, meaning we should have had another one to use at some point. We did, however, gain a lead pipe item, if you guys remember, and we used this in the last video by picking up one of the stashes basically on the map. There's 5 of them, and right now there's only 4 remaining over here, but there was one right here, and we picked it up and gained a loot card from it. But we should have had another loot card when we took out Anastasia, so to correct that, I'm going to take that loot card now. The downside of this is that the loot card, whatever I get, may or may not have helped me in the situation if I had picked it up when I should have. So it's kind of a detriment to me that I didn't get it or take it when I should have, but at least we didn't forget to give it to her in the first place. So we're going to go ahead now and grab a loot card and find out what we get. So what we have here is Sneakers. So Sneaker says, discard this card during a kick attack to add 2 red dice to the attack. So this is perfect. Actually, it literally is perfect for Megan, because Megan is all about kick damage, mainly. So that's going to be a huge advantage for me to be able to get 2 extra red dice on attack. So we're going to put this up here in her Uber Stacks tray to use later on. The second major miss from the last episode, which would have helped Megan out, was I forgot to add +1 kick damage from my stage dive to the attack against Dmitri. So you can see right here on the card, it says your attack deals +1 kick damage, and I forgot to add that in. At the time, he didn't have any defense tokens, so Dmitri is going to go ahead and gain 1 kick damage. And I'm going to put that on his card now, so he has a total of 7 damage. So that's a nice help. I'm glad you guys pointed that out in the comments. This next one is more of a rule clarification than it is a correction, because there's nothing we can do about it now, but it didn't impact gameplay majorly, but it's extremely important to understand this strategy-wise and even just ensuring you're playing correctly. I stated in the prior part of Street Masters that if you were to put Megan in between Dmitri and his objective, so say if Dmitri was right here trying to get over to the blue objective, that it would cause Dmitri to have to spend movement to get around Megan. This is actually not true. A boss can actually move through his own minions plus fighters. He can go straight through them. So he could have moved straight to the objective, and he could have done that. So this is something that's worth mentioning because, of course, it changes strategy and everything like that. I may have not put my character where I put her. I might have moved her somewhere else because I wouldn't have been able to actually block Dmitri. And this is really, really important. It ended up in the last part not mattering, though, because the boss retreats away from me anyway and can't end movement in your space anyway. Like, can't end movement inside of Megan's space. And you can see that the board design only allows one miniature to be in a space as it is. So it's kind of intuitive in that way that, of course, Dmitri couldn't land on the same spot that Megan's currently in. So Megan, the one thing Megan can do is Megan can sit on top of the objective. And so when I did that as part of my strategy, that was completely legal, and you can totally do that to try to stop a particular boss from gaining an objective, for example. But of course, most bosses have some type of attack or something that they're going to force you off that objective at some point. So it usually doesn't last for very long. But it's something you can do. You just can't block his movement, per se. He can literally move right through you. The last rules clarification that I want to give is about exhausting cards. Now, we didn't have to do this in the last video, but I talked about it quickly. Basically, exhausting a card, if a card happens to be in your fighter area, so up here it's in my hand during the playthrough, but if it was down here with my character card, and I chose to exhaust it like this, I would gain the exhaust ability at the bottom of the card, which says you and each fighter within 3 spaces of you may gain 1 defense token of your choice. And usually you would think, at least the way I stated it in the first part, that if it's exhausted like this, you don't gain the benefit of the generic ability, which is at the start of your turn, gain 1 random defense token, or you couldn't use channeled heal 1 damage, but you actually can. All the abilities on the card are still valid, even when the card is exhausted. That's something to note and be aware of, because that may affect your strategy and thought process when you're trying to come up with a way to take down the enemies. Alright, so that's going to do it. We have now cleared up all the rules, the clarifications, a couple corrections. We actually have a couple advantages because of the new sneakers we just gained for Megan, as well as the damage on Dmitri. I think it's time to find out whether Megan has what it takes as the underdog to come back and take Dmitri down. What do you think? Let's do this. Alright, it's the moment we've all been waiting for. We're moving into the playthrough for part number 2. So we're going to go ahead and start it off in the threat phase. So we would be unexhausting any exhausted cards in our fighter play area if we had any, but we don't. So we're moving straight to the enemy deck, the Brotherhood enemy deck. We're going to find out what kind of enemy or what event or something that's going to happen in this thing. So, oh my gosh, we got Anastasia coming back out again. That's going to be a problem. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to actually get her all set up on the game board, as well as get all her defense tokens in play. Let's do this. So Anastasia now sitting in our threat area. We're going to go ahead and grab her defense tokens and her miniature. There we go. We got our grapple token for defense and a kick defense as well on her. So she's all set up, and now we're going to grab her miniature and we're going to spawn her in the closest spawn to our hero, Megan. So Anastasia now is going to be placed in the nearest spawn to Megan, which would be up here in the top left-hand corner. So now she has made her way into the warehouse, coming in kind of behind Megan where she can't be seen. That's not good because we know that she can do damage from distance, which is unfortunate. But that's going to do it for the threat phase. We have now resolved it, put her in the threat area, got her defense tokens, and put her on the map. So let's move into the act phase. Beginning the act phase, I'm going to have Megan do a flying knee kick to Dmitri, while Dmitri has 0 defense tokens for any kick damage. The reason I want to do this is because I want to inflict as much damage on him while he does not have defense tokens as humanly possible, even though Anastasia, way up here in the top right, is a threat. Anastasia from distance only does 1 direct damage, whereas Dmitri does a full attack with 4 white dice. So if I have him attacking Megan, and he lands some of those hits, and I don't have tokens, defensive tokens to block, I'm going to take a lot of damage. So I've come up with a plan to put a lot of damage on Dmitri and then step back onto the objective token and block him from taking it again. I will suffer Anastasia's shot, though, later in the round. That's okay. I'm okay with that. I'd rather have that happen than Dmitri hitting me with his attack because I start beside him. So let's go ahead and start off with a flying knee ability. So I'm playing a card that's considered the card step portion of the action step, which happens in the act phase. So this is my first one. I'm doing flying knee. It says deal 3 kick damage to an enemy engaged with you. Then choose any space adjacent to the enemy and place your figure there. I'm actually not going to move from my space after the attack. And sorry, just to clarify, guys, this is not an attack. There's a difference between an attack and just straight damage. This card is an ability card, so it does 3 kick damage, meaning my stage dive card will not give me the benefit of the extra +1 kick damage because it says your attacks deal +1 kick damage. In order for it to be an attack, it'd have to say something like this. Attack at the beginning, and it talks about it specifically being an attack, and you can see right up there, it's even an attack card, or it's something that comes from even Megan's character card down below off screen here, where it says attack. It's like this for her Feet of Fury. All right, so I'm not going to be able to get the bonus of the +1 off stage dive for damage, but hey, 3 damage against Dmitri because there's no way to block a flying kick, and it is kick damage, is awesome. So I'm going to play this card. It's discarded immediately, and because Dmitri doesn't have any way to stop it, he's taking the damage just like that. So I'm quite happy with that. So we're going to take away 2 damage, and by giving him 3, we bump it to 5. So now he has 10 damage, and we are halfway to killing him, and he is also technically more than halfway to killing Megan, as Megan has 12 damage and only 16 health. And as you can see here, Flying Knee is now in the discard pile, which is to the left of her character deck, so that card has been completely resolved, and I'm choosing not to move her anywhere around Dmitri after the kick damage. Now I'm going to go ahead and do an action step, which is going to be a card action. So I'm choosing to use Megan's Feet of Fury attack. And this is an attack with 2 red dice. And it says after this attack, you may resolve a channeled effect. And I plan to do the bottom channeled effect of Stage Dive, which allow me to move 3 spaces and then deal X kick damage to an enemy engaged with you if there is one. And then X is the number of chi cards you have in play. And I only have 1 at the moment. So here's what's cool. I'm going to go ahead and use Sneakers. Sneakers I'm going to discard right now while making this Feet of Fury attack, which is going to allow me to discard this card during a kick attack, which it is, because Megan does kick damage, and add 2 more red die to the attack. So we're going to be rolling 4 dice total. This should be quite the attack. So here's hoping things land right side up for me. So let's go ahead with Megan's attack here, the Feet of Fury, using her Sneakers and hoping for big, big hits. Hopefully criticals, that's what we really want. I want to be able to roll additional dice. That would be fantastic. Oh, there we go. Now we're talking. So we got a couple good hits there. So that's 4 damage, just that. And I still get to reroll 2 more dice. And I should say reroll. It's literally rolling 2 new dice, not rerolling. So that's pretty crazy. Here we go. Come on, more criticals. Okay, that's not bad. I'll take that. That's 6 damage, guys. 6 damage. That's crazy high. So that was actually unexpected. I'll take it, though. So that is going to be 6 massive damage coming to Dmitri, and Dmitri cannot block this because this is kick damage. Now, on top of this, I'm also realizing that there's going to be an additional damage given because we have Stage Dive in play, and Stage Dive says your attack deals 1 extra kick damage, and this was an attack, so I am going to get an extra kick damage, meaning that the total kick damage going against Dmitri now is going to be 7. That's right, so things have turned very interesting towards us here. We've got 17 damage all of a sudden on Dmitri. So let's go ahead and put that next to his player card and then figure out what else we'd like to do with the channeled effect that we now get to trigger from Feet of Fury. So one thing that's super awesome about the die roll we just got is we also gained ourselves one of the guard tokens and defensive tokens. So we're going to be taking one of those after we drop the wounds on Dmitri. It will be a kick defense token that will go onto Megan, which is awesome because she could use all the defense she can get at this particular point. So Dmitri is going to see 7 damage coming his way here, which is awesome. So boom, there's another 5, another 1, and another 1 for a total of 17 damage on Dmitri now. So let's head back over to Megan's card now, grab that defensive token, the kick defense, and then also talk a little bit about whatever channeled effect she'd like to use from Feet of Fury. So we're moving all the way over here to Megan for her defensive kick token that she gained from the last roll she got, which was an awesome roll. We could have gained, or would have liked to have gained a lot more defensive tokens, but hey, any is better than none. Megan currently has 12 total damage, 16 health before she is taken out. Now we're going to go ahead and activate the channeled effect. As you can see here on the Feet of Fury card, channel's right here for stage dive, and it says you can move up to 3, you may move up to 3 spaces, then deal X kick damage to an enemy. X is the number of chi cards you have in play. I only have 1 tactic chi card, so it'd be only 1 kick damage. The downside of this is you do not get the advantage of the additional kick damage up top here because it's not an attack, and it specifically states your attacks deal plus 1 kick damage. So it would literally only be 1 extra damage to Dmitri, which isn't bad, but the downside of this is I'd have to stay adjacent to him in order to, because I have to be engaged in order to do this damage. The risk with that is Dmitri hits really hard, and I've only got 4 health remaining with 1 defensive token, and Dmitri rolls 4 dice. Not worth the risk. I'd rather move up to 3 spaces and then not deal any kick damage. So I'm going to go ahead, using my channeled ability, it says you may move up to 3 spaces, period. Then you can go ahead and deal damage to an enemy engaged with you, if there happens to be one, and there is not going to be one, but that's okay, because my plan is just to get away from him. So let's stage dive as far away from him as possible, back over to the objective. So after Megan made her massive hit on Dmitri, she is now going to go ahead and she's going to move her 3 spaces, but I'm just going to move her 2 because it says you may move up to, and I'm going to plant her right on the token so that in the next turn she'll be able to pick that up. This all goes back to my plan of how I want to basically strategize and try to win this, because things were not looking good, but now we have a little bit of an advantage here. We might be able to pull it out. So far I've done an action step, which allowed me to, or I did a card step, which was a play a card from my hand. I then did an action step, which was the Feet of Fury, which then did the channeling effect for my stage dive. Technically now I still have 3 move to spend. I'm not using it. I'm just choosing not to move. I'm ending my turn right now. I do not want to get off this objective, and that's it. I'm done. So we are now finished the act phase, and we're going to move on to the react phase. Moving right along to the react phase, we're going to activate left to right all of the characters in our threat area. So we only have Anastasia, so Anastasia is going to activate. It says, if unengaged, deal the nearest fighter within 6 spaces of this enemy 1 direct damage. So yes, she is going to take a long rifle shot at Megan, doing 1 direct damage to her, which I'm going to go ahead right now and just take this damage token and put it on her. She has inflicted that wound on Megan, and Megan now is up to a total of 13 damage. Ever so close to 16. All right, and then it says afterwards, if unable to do that, then you'd move up to 3 spaces to be within 6 of the nearest fighter, and then if engaged, attack, and then retreat 3 spaces. So all that doesn't happen because she made the shot happen, so she has now activated, and the react phase is complete. Moving along to Megan here in the draw phase, we draw a card, and then we go ahead and move on to the enemy turn. So here's the flip. We got ourselves Gale Force. This is a pretty cool looking card. So this is an attack card, and it says attack with 2 red dice. After this attack, you may discard any number of chi cards you control, then deal the target enemy 1 direct damage for each chi card discarded. That's sweet. So I mean, if we want to do as a last ditch effort, we can ditch our stage dive. So Gale Force is going to come in super handy. That's going up into the Uberstacks rack of our hand. Moving into the enemy turn, we're now going to activate Dmitri. So Dmitri gains 2 random defense tokens. We know how this works. We roll 2 dice, and that's what he gains for his defense tokens. So let's see what happens. First kick defense and a punch defense. That is going to suck, because that's going to require him to, or allow him, I should say, to block one of our kick damage at some point, and that's no good. And kicking is what we do best, even though we do have focus resolve, which allows us to do grappling attacks. Kicking really is where it's at for Megan currently. So we've done that and resolved it. Then each target, or sorry, I should say, and is going to attack every figure that's engaged with him. So we're going to jump to the board to show you kind of the layout, but as of right now, Megan is not engaged with Dmitri. So as you guys can see, Dmitri is all alone, and that's because Megan was smart and stage dived out of there onto the objective, blocking it so that he cannot take it during his stage turn, which will happen coming up next. But Dmitri, as of right now, cannot attack anyone because no one is engaged with him. And the rest of his abilities on his card do not apply because no one is engaged with him. So at this particular point, the enemy turn is complete, and we do move to the stage turn. Time for the stage turn. So we're going to go ahead and activate the objective, and it says the boss moves 3 spaces toward this objective, which is the blue weapons cache. Then if on the objective, he'll take it, but Dmitri cannot because Megan was smart enough to jump on top of the weapons cache, protecting it, and all Dmitri can do is get up close and personal at this point. So Dmitri now is going to move as close to the objective as he possibly can, using up to 3 movement, so he's going to make it right here on top of these pieces of wood. So he's next to or adjacent to the objective, cannot pick it up though, because Megan was smart enough to get on top of the weapons cache and protect it, defending it against Dmitri, keeping him from getting the extra +1 direct damage, but she also didn't pick it up herself because she needs an interact action in order to do that, and she didn't have the ability to do that in her turn last up. So at this particular point, we are now finished with the activation phase of the stage turn. We're moving to the draw phase. So the draw phase is resolving a card from the stage deck. So let's find out how this changes the game. So Gone Ballistic stage deck, what do we got? Oh, look at that. We got a double. Hidden Ballistic Vest. It's a gear card. If I remember correctly from the last part, that's right. This attaches to a minion with the least remaining health. And the only minion we have is Anastasia in the corner with her rifle. So that minion's going to heal 2 damage. Good thing I didn't hit her yet, so she won't heal any damage. Gains a random defense token, so let's go ahead and roll here to find out what random defense token she will gain. She gained a kick. That's unfortunate. I rolled that off camera. So she now actually has 2 defensive tokens against kick damage, 1 grapple, and full health. So that's no good. What else is happening here? If no minions are in play, the boss gains 2 random defense tokens. That doesn't happen because we do have a minion in play. Now we attach this card to the minion, and the minion, so Anastasia gains 2 more health. So now Anastasia is going to go up to 6. Let's shoot over to her card. I'll show you exactly what I changed. All right, so Anastasia's gaining the Hidden Ballistic Vest, which is this card right here. So I'm going to be going ahead and I'm going to be slipping that underneath her card. This also increases her health by 2. And she already had a grapple and a kick defensive token when she first came in the game. Now she just gained by re-rolling a random defensive die. We got ourselves, or just one of the white dice is what I meant to say. We got ourselves a kick. So she's now got 2 defensive kick tokens, which is bad because that's kind of the damage that Megan likes to do, making her tougher to kill. But based on how things have been going, it makes more sense for us to continue to focus on Dmitri and hope to beat him before he beats us, because it's kind of coming down to the end of it very, very soon. So that's it. That finishes up the round. We're going to be moving into the next round where I'm hoping to pick up the objective, hopefully get the weapons cache in my hand, and do enough damage to Dmitri to take him down. If things pan out the way I want them to, we should be a-okay. We'll see how that goes. Let's start off the round. The beginning of the round always starts with a new Brotherhood card coming out, so let's see what we got. Oh, we got Boris. So Boris is joining us here. So we're going to go ahead and grab his actual miniature as well as grab his defensive tokens, put him in the threat area for our character. We'll do that right now. All right, so there is Boris. We got his miniature. We got him in the threat area. He also gains 2 punch defensive tokens to start it off. His card here states a fighter adjacent to this enemy cannot move unless they discard 1 grapple defense token and place it on his card. So again, very similar to Dmitri. He's a big guy. Lots of muscle. He's going to hold you. He's going to keep you there, and he's going to beat you down. So that's basically what you need to do in order to get away from him, is have a defensive token for grapple you can discard. Then you can kind of release his grasp on you. Otherwise, he's bear hugging you and not letting you go anywhere. The activate ability underneath of him says, advance 3 spaces toward the nearest fighter and attack. This enemy gains +1 attack value if it did not move before its attack. So basically, he's stronger if he didn't spell out or burn out some energy. So that's kind of cool. Basically, it makes thematic sense based on his size. So what we're going to do here, of course, that doesn't activate now. We just put him into play. That's it. So he's going to spawn. We got to put his miniature into play in the nearest available spawn. And the crazy thing is, technically, the nearest available spawn is where Anastasia is, but she's literally standing on top of it. So he's going to go to the next available spawn point closest to Megan. All right, so this becomes a bit interesting because we have to figure out what is the nearest spawn location to Megan. So Megan currently is here. The next nearest spawn going down this side of the board is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to get to that spawn point. To go to the opposite corner over here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So Boris is actually going to be coming in right here, which is surprising. I thought he actually would have been coming in over on the opposite side. He's actually bear hugging my finger. He doesn't even want me to let go. So this guy we do not want as close to us, because when he gets close to us, he does quite a bit of damage, and he also is annoying because we don't have any grapple defense tokens to get him off of us. So it's kind of good that he actually spawned far away because he is a little bit tougher than Anastasia. He comes in with 6 health, and he's going to be rolling 2 attack dice, which is 2 of the white dice when he does his activation. But for right now, we are finished the threat phase. We're moving into the act phase, and Megan technically has a chance to end it right now. All right, so we've come all the way around to the act phase for Megan. So I've got different options here, and it's actually quite interesting because I'm at this point in the game where things are starting to become there's a lot more strategy in what you choose to do. It's a risk-reward situation, really, because with the roll of the dice, everything can change. So the first thing Megan could do is use her Feet of Fury right off the hop. If I did that, I'd be rolling 2 red die, and I could also use the channeled effect on the stage dive card to go ahead and move up to 3 spaces, then deal kick damage to an enemy engaged with you, which would allow me to do 1 more kick damage with the chi card. So basically, at the end of it, if I roll these 2 attack dice, let's say I got 2 hits, let's say I have +1 kick damage on the top, which I do for each attack, so that's 3 damage or 3 kick damage going through, and then I discard, or then I use my channeled ability because I did my Feet of Fury, and it allows me to deal X kick damage based on chi cards, so that would be 4. So max I could get is 4 unless criticals are involved. Then the max just becomes infinite based on how many criticals I roll. But 4 is good because I only need 3 to kill Dmitri. He has 17 damage, but he has 1 defensive token, which is why I'm saying I just need 3. So that would work perfectly. If I got 4 damage and he blocks 1, 3 get through, and he's done, knocked out, I win the scenario. The scary thing with this is that it might not work out, and if it doesn't work out, the only cards I'm left with to do an attack with are in my hand, have to do with either Focus Resolve, which uses grapple damage, which is something that he's very good at defending. I think he has 5 defensive grapple tokens currently. Or I go for the weaker one, which is the Fist or Punch icon, and he's got 4 of those to block. So again, I could try to do it. Now it does say right here, after this attack, you may discard a number of chi cards you control, then deal the target enemy 1 direct damage for each chi card. So Gale Force is still useful because it might be the 1 card that gets me the 1 extra damage by discarding Stage Dive to do it. So what I'm going to do, it's going to be risky. If it's kind of connecting for you guys, I'm going to try a Feet of Fury attack. I'm then going to try to see whether my bonuses and everything added in will do some damage, get past his defense. Then I'm going to use the channeled ability and try to see what I can do. It does say here I get basically to do 1 damage because of however many chi cards I have, so that's good. And then if that doesn't work, I'll do the Gale Force for 1 direct damage that gets past his defense tokens, and hopefully that's all I need to take him down. If it doesn't work, we're going through another round. I can tell you things will get a lot scarier for me real quick. So I got 1 shot to try to pull this off. It's going to be exciting. I hope it pans out. So here we go. Alright, so Megan is using her Feet of Fury attack for 2 red dice. And then we're going to go ahead and use a channeled ability afterwards. So here we go. And of course we get 1 plus kick damage on this added to it because of Stage Dive, no matter what it is. So here's hoping we can get 2 damage. If we get 2 damage, we might be sitting pretty. Oh, that did not pan out exactly how I wanted it to. Okay, so that's going to be... Let's see how this works. So we got ourselves 1 damage here. We get an extra kick damage because of Stage Dive. So there we go. 2 kick damage is coming to Dmitri. Dmitri is going to block 1 of the kick damage. So we'll remove that token from his card. The other kick damage gets through, giving him a single wound. So he's got an extra wound on his card now. Now he is up to 18. And next, we're going to go ahead. It says, after attacking an enemy, you may discard this card to deal 1 direct damage to each enemy engaged with you. So I could discard Stage Dive right now in order to get an extra damage, but then I couldn't take advantage of Channel, which I want to do. So I'm not going to discard it. Moving to Channeled, it says you may move up to 3 spaces and then deal deal X kick damage to an enemy engaged with you. X is the number of chi cards you have in play. So I'm going to show you guys the cards. You can see I'm using the bottom portion of this. This is going to pan out, I think. So you may move up to 3 spaces, then deal X kick damage to an enemy engaged with you. X is the number of chi cards you have in play. So I'm already engaged with him, so I'm just going to stay exactly where I am. Technically, I could move. I could go anywhere I wanted to, but I'll just move around and then come right back to my same spot. Doesn't really matter. and I'm going to deal 1 kick damage towards him. Now this is 1 kick damage. It's not an attack, so I only get 1 damage thrown at him. But now I'm getting him even closer because he doesn't have any ability to block this kick damage. So now he's up to a total of 19. So my plan is going to work because now I get to finish off this entire attack with Megan. I'm going to now gain a kick defensive token, which is just nice to have, but we're not going to need it. So 1 defensive token is going to go on her card. And then I'm going to use from her hand, I'm going to play Gale Force. Attack. It says, first off, you attack rolling the 2 dice, and of course we're attacking with fist, or punch. We're basically trying to punch Dmitri. So let's roll and see what happens. Who knows? Let's see what we get. So we get, oh my gosh, we get so much defense. So we get 2 defense tokens, and they would be in the, we would get 2 fist, because that's what we're fighting with. So we'd actually be gaining 2. So now we've finally actually gotten some decent defensive tokens right when we don't need it. And then at the very bottom of the card here, it says you may discard any number of chi cards you control, then deal the target enemy 1 direct damage for each chi card discarded. So boom, there's my attack. This card gets discarded. I'm picking this chi card, which I control, which is Stage Dive. I'm chucking my Stage Dive card at Dmitri, which is enough to kill him. He's been knocked out at 20 health. We did it. I don't understand how we did it, but we did it. And that's pretty awesome. Because for a bit there, I mean, the fact that we're at 13 health, I actually did think we were going to lose, and I thought I was going to go a few more rounds in this, but that was awesome. So this is just a sample of what Street Masters has to offer. This was super, super exciting, so thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate all the support throughout the playthrough. Hopefully this helps you guys in your decision as to whether or not you want to pick up Street Masters or not. That's what these videos are all about, is to show you the game as it plays and leave it up to you. So thank you guys so much, and as always, keep on rolling solo.